Morning everyone, we're going to start our lecture online from this week. So in the previous few weeks, we have talked about the other theories from the philosophy to the Zangfu organs. So when we go to our physical body, we have discussed different Zang organs, Fu organs, and also last week we discussed the relationship between different organs, and these are one of the most important aspects you need to understand and you need to work on for your further study to understand how does it work, or how we think of a human body. The organs, they got different functions. What are their functions and how does they work together in terms of the concept of holism? So when we study the organs one by one, and then actually they work together, so they got different functions, such as the heart governs the blood and vessels. But in order to function well for the heart to govern the blood, we also need a function from the spleen, from the lung. So these are the relationship you need to understand among different organs. For today, we're going to introduce another theories of essence, qi, blood, body fluids, and mind. So these are another very important theories in terms of the physiology. So this is another very important theories in terms of the physiology of how the body works. The different organs we mentioned before, the heart, the lung, the liver, all those organs, they got different functions. And the function, how do they work? Or what's the connection in between is the qi and blood. So here we're going to discuss the essence. Good morning guys, we're going to start our class today. So before we start, in this few weeks, because of the coronavirus problem, so we might continue use our online lecturing for these few days. And for the online lecturing, it be quite similar to the normal lecturing on campus, but for this kind of learning, we actually lack of interactions between each other. So when you study or in the class, when you watch this video, the slides, if you have some confusions or some questions, please write me an email. My email address will be attached and at the back of each video. So at the last slides of each video, there will be my email address there. If you got any questions, just write me an email. Or if you have any suggestions on how we can be better in this kinds of lecturing, in this kinds of teaching and study, please write me an email and let us know what do you think and is any other improvements we can do in order to make everyone study better. Also, you would like to have your ideas on the YouTube, like the one what we done now. I will film the video and then I will upload on YouTube. I will send you the link, then you can watch from YouTube. The other way is from on Blackboard. Do you prefer the one on YouTube or do you prefer the one on the Blackboard? So just let me know if you got any ideas in our learning styles. Okay, so today we're going to continue our discussion with qi. Previously, in the last video, we discussed the qi, the definition, and where the qi come from, and which organs the qi related to mostly. In today's class, we're going to discuss the different type of qi. Different type of qi is actually because of the function, the different function of qi. The whole of qi, for instance, the whole qi is the portion there. Then we divide them into different functions, but they actually the same qi. When they got different functions, we gave them different titles. So the qi can be divided or can be named as four main different type of qi because due to their different functions. The first one is primordial qi or original qi. In Chinese, we also call it yuan qi. Yuan just means original, origin, most essential and most initial. So that's yuan. That's also similar words to primordial qi. The second is petrol qi. Petrol qi in Chinese they also called zong qi. Zong qi. When we talk about the definition, you will know where they come from, and that's also the reason why we gave the translation petrol qi. The next one is nutrition qi. Nutrition qi and defensive qi, the last one, is quite easy to understand because you can see actually the function from the translation. So nutrition qi we also call it yin qi. Defensive qi we call it wei qi. So these are the Chinese names at the back: yuan qi, zong qi, yin qi, wei qi. You can use either the English name or the Chinese name. Primordial qi, ethical qi, nutrition qi, defensive qi. So we gave them different titles, and all what we discuss about is transformation of qi. And when we study these theories, same as what we discussed last time, what's important here is you need to understand the definition, you need to know where they come from and where the distribution and also the function of each of them. Okay, so that's the definition. Where they come from, the origin of qi, the distribution, where they goes to, and the function. So each of them, when study, think about this, because this will be in your test, and also very important for your future practice, where they come from, where they distribute to. The transformation of qi is the result of the qi movements. So in the last video, we said that there are 4 movements of qi: ascending, descending, dispersing, and gathering. So these 4 movements, the results of the movements, the combination of different movements, it will cause the transformation. That's how the human body, the physical body function, or the physiological condition in our healthy person, such as your breathing, your metabolism, everything is actually the result of the transformation of qi. So the first one we're going to discuss is 元气. 元气 is also named as primordial qi, original qi, or primary qi, generic qi. You see from these names here, all these words depend on the translators. Sometimes they give different names, different words in English. But when you see from the words, you will see these words are quite similar. They got similar meaning that refers to the origin, the most initial, essential substance in the body. So it is the most essential qi in the body. It's the vital foundation of life. It is the motive force of all life activities. From the definition, you will see actually the 元气 or primordial qi is the initial qi. What does the initial mean? Or where does 元气 come from? Initial, it means very similar to the word congenital. So initial, when it started, congenital. So it is actually transformed from the congenital essence stored in the kidney. So 元气, the source of 元气, is mainly transformed from congenital essence stored in the kidney and further enriched and nourished by nutrition qi, which is the acquired qi. So the source of 元气, firstly, it is transformed from congenital essence, which is from your parents. Okay, the first one is from congenital essence. The second key word is stores in the kidney. So the essence, where they stored, mostly stored in the kidney. And just remember when we discuss 脏腑 theories, we discussed about the heart, the lung, the liver, the kidney, the spleen. We use all these terminologies of the organs, but when we discuss the organs, specific organs, don't think of the physical organs only. When we discuss about the organs in acupuncture theories, we always combine the physical organ and the function together. So these are the same way of thinking that yin and yang is inseparable. So when we discuss kidneys, we include the physical kidney and also the kidney function. The kidney function in terms of in acupuncture theories, so it's also not only related to the physical function or the function from general medicine. When you study acupuncture, when you think about acupuncture, you need to use the theories we introduced in the past few classes. Use those theories to explain, to understand the terms we're using here. So 元气, the source of 元气, the first aspect is congenital essence transformed from congenital essence. The second is it is stored in the kidney. The last keyword here is enriched and nourished by the nutrition qi. So as you can see from here, 元气 or primordial qi, it is transformed from congenital essence. How much you have, how much 元气 you have, depends on congenital, depends on your parents. So how strong the body is or how weak the body is depends on the congenital and stored in the kidney. But no matter how strong or how weak they are initially, it can be enriched and or nourished by nutrition qi. So there's something innate, congenital, and something acquired. If something is weaker from congenital. For instance, we gave you the example previously that I said that sometimes their parent is much older than they're supposed to. For instance, when they were born, their parents is in, especially for the father, is in the 50s. Then the kids will be weaker or might be weaker, though it means the kids, the 元气 of the kids is weaker. And then this condition, the 元气, when it's weaker, doesn't mean the kid is not healthy, or the kid is supposed to be weaker or unhealthy than others. It doesn't have to, because 元气 also can be enriched and nourished by the nutrition qi, which is the acquired qi from the food, from your middle jiao. So that's the source of 元气. The distribution of 元气 元气 is stored in the kidney and distributed to all parts of the body. How they distribute, or where's the pathway they distribute, is from 三焦. So when we talk about 三焦 in 脏腑 organs, we say 三焦, we got different schools of 三焦. So 三焦 can be the first school we introduce is the location, upper jiao, middle jiao, and lower jiao. And the other school we introduce, we said 三焦 is the pathways of where qi and blood moves. Then here we applied the second school, the 元气, was distributed in 三焦through the meridian to all the body. So this is the distribution, and the source is 元气 stored in the kidney. It doesn't store there only. It doesn't keep there. It also distributes to nourish all the body through 三焦. So 三焦 for this term here, the one we use here, means all over the body. Wherever there's 元气, there's 三焦. The 元气 started from the kidney, it's stored in the kidney, and it goes to lower jiao, middle jiao, and upper jiao. These two schools of 三焦, the location and the pathway of qi and blood, we also don't separate them when we use. We still can use together, which means the 元气 or primordial qi were distributed from kidney, which is the lower jiao. You also go to the middle jiao, to the upper jiao, and then when it enters the meridian, it goes to the lung meridian and through the meridian flow to all over the body. So this flow we're going to discuss more in details in our meridian. So after this theories, we're going to the meridian, the distribution, and the flow of meridian. We will discuss more about the qi flow. The function of 元气. The 元气 is a primary activating and driving force for the growth and development of human body. All functions, activities at 脏腑 organs and meridians. So these are the two functions of the primordial qi. The primary activating and driving force for the growth and development of human body. You still remember what stuff we have mentioned for the growth and development of human body? What happens if someone, how we analyze if someone they grow slower or their period comes much later than they're supposed to? For instance, for girls, the first period comes at the age of 15 or 16. You still remember which organs or what aspects we mentioned there? Essence. So 元气 is from the congenital essence. That's why the function is also similar. It is transformed from the congenital essence. 元气. The function of 元气 is very similar to the function to congenital essence. Also in charge of all functioning activities of 脏腑 organs, meridians. So the 脏腑 organs and meridian need to function well. You also need 元气. So these are the function of 元气. There also another function we didn't write down here is 元气 also can activate warm the body. This is also the function of qi, or the nature of qi is yang. So yang have the function to warm the body, to warm the 脏腑, to warm the meridian. All of the body, all the 脏腑 organs, the meridian, they need to be warm. The reason why is because we need the flow to move. If the body or the meridian is cold, then it will cause the stagnation or blockage, which cause the pathological condition. So from 元气, we give you the definition, the source, the distribution, and the function. So from congenital essence, is stored in the kidney, and it was enriched and nourished by the nutrition qi. The distribution is stored in the kidney and it goes to all over the body through 三焦. So these are the key words. You also need to refer back to your textbook. These are the keywords I gave you. If in a test we ask you, 元气 is distributed to over the body, to the organs, to the meridian. Then there's a gap. Then you need to write down 三焦. So how or where the 元气 travel through is from 三焦. Then the function is to activating to the physiology function of 脏腑 and meridian. 中气 or you call peteral qi. It's formed from combination of inhaled clear qi and the nutrition qi from the food. The 中气, the translation can be peteral. Peteral means chest. There is something related to chest. So it actually already gave you the hint. Where does the qi store, and also where they come from? So peteral qi is formed from combination of inhaled clear qi. The inhaled clear qi, in other words, we have said that previously, qi in Chinese, it can refer to air, the actual air, the air we breathing from breathing. The air we breathe in, we also call qi. So the inhaled clear qi, it actually means the air from breathing. So it's the combination of the air from breathing and nutrition qi from the food. Nutrition qi, where they come from the middle jiao, then we're going to discuss in a while. So zong qi, physical qi, is from the qi from the lung, from the inhaled air, and the nutrition qi. So that's where zong qi come from. Inhaled clear qi, or the air from breathing. Nutrition qi from food, the two sources of physical qi. The distribution of zong qi, where they go to. The first one accumulates in the chest. That's also why we gave the name as peteral qi. They accumulate, they stay in the chest. They got large amounts in the chest. That's also due to the breathing. The breathing function, the lung function, take place mostly in the lung. It enters and passes through the heart and vessels. So this qi, peteral qi, enters and passes through the heart and vessels. Remember, when we discussed the heart function, we said the heart in charge or governs the blood and vessels. Then I told you that in order to get the blood to move, it's not from the pumping function of heart. We don't discuss in that way. We discuss that the heart qi push promotes the flow of the blood. The heart qi, where they come from? Actually, some of the heart qi is from the zong qi, peteral qi. That's why the distribution from the peteral qi enters and passes through the heart and vessels. The last is distributes to all parts of the body through sanjiao. So this function is very similar to the yuan qi, or to the most initial primordial qi. They are similar. Zong qi also in charge of the breathing. They govern the breathing, the speech, and the movements. So if someone speaks very quiet, the voice is very low, they don't want to move, or the very shallow the breathing, then in this condition, we will say that the person is a lack of peteral qi. It's because zong qi, the function of zong qi, it governs the breathing, the vision, the speech, and movements. So the function of zong qi promoting the lungs' respiratory function. The breathing function from zong qi, and the heart vessels promote the circulation of the qi and blood. So the circulation over the body need to be activated by zong qi. Zong qi also can tonify the congenital essence. But here we don't focus on here. The reason why is the qi from middle jiao the acquired qi, which tonify the congenital essence, is also from, and the zhongqi, they are all from the middle jiao. That's why they also have the function for congenital essence to tonify. But when we said to tonify the congenital essence, we more refer to acquired qi. The next one we're going to discuss is yin qi, or the nutrition qi. Yin is the qi circulating in the vessels with the blood. It belongs to the yin. So the nature of yin qi is yin, and where they distribute, it flows in the vessels and joins the blood, become one of the components of the blood, distributed over the body. Where they come from is the nutritive substance from food and water. So this actually from the middle jiao. The spleen and the stomach function from the middle jiao. They cause after the middle jiao absorb these nutritions, the one we can use, then we call them nutrition qi or yin qi. What's important here is because for this kinds of lecture and this kinds of video, I can't reverse the slides, so we will use the slides and we will see the next slides. I also emphasize these three words in the vessels. The reason why we emphasize here is because when we discuss this defensive qi, the definition is very similar. It's the qi circulating outside the vessels. So nutrition qi and defensive qi, the source, is very similar. From the middle jiao, from the food and water, it's also acquired qi. The distribution of them, the difference is one is in the vessel, one is outside the vessels. So that's the key words you need to remember. Something move in the vessel, we call them yin qi or in blood. So when we said the heart function, the heart receive the qi from the middle jiao and change into red color. The red color substance, we call them blood. And the substance move in the vessels. And now here, we said yin qi or the nutrition qi is the qi from the food and water, which is also very similar from middle jiao, circulate in the vessels. So here actually the nutrition qi or yin qi is the components of the blood. Just you still remember that in the last few weeks when we mentioned the qi and the relationship between qi and blood, I gave you one picture at the corner of here. There's one picture of the space, and there's one guy squeezing their towel in the space, in the universe. So I said the water stays out of the towel and didn't drop. The reason why we use these two pictures to demonstrate the water there, we want to discuss the function or the relationship between between qi and blood. So the blood, the heart change the qi into red color, become the blood, and then the blood will stay there as in the liquid form. But the blood need to move. What can move the blood? is the qi, because qi is yang, blood is yin. Yin will never move. In order to get the yin move, we need a qi. So in the blood here, sometimes you will confuse. The source of nutrition qi is from the middle jiao, from food and from water, and the blood also from middle jiao, from food and water. Blood flows in the vessel, and the nutrition qi also flows in the vessel. So you can see from when you compare here, you will see the two are almost the same. Where they come from? They're from the same source, where they flows to. The distribution, they all flows in the blood vessel. But when you see in the blood vessels, what do we have? We only have blood. So what's the relationship between nutrition qi and the blood? The relationship is blood includes the liquid form of blood and the nutrition qi. So in blood, the liquid form of blood, the one in the vessels, then we can separate them into yin and yang. The yin is the liquid form of the blood. The yang is the invisible parts. We can't see, but the important parts to move the blood, to improve, to keep the circulation. Then we call nutrition qi. This theories or this way of thinking is also the way of thinking of yin and yang. Yin and yang, they can separate in, everything can separate in yin and yang. And in yin or in yang, you also can separate them again. So compare with qi and blood. Blood is yin, but the yin blood, you also can separate into two. One's the nutrition qi, one's the blood, the materials. So in order to get the materials to move, you need to have the nutrition qi push. Okay, so that's the yin function, transforming into blood, nourish the whole body. Nourishing the whole body, and it's actually quite similar in all. It is the qi function. Then we have said the wei qi, defensive qi as well. The definition you will see, it travels outside the vessels, belongs to yang. So yin qi, the nutrition qi, belongs to yin, the source of wei qi, nutritive substance of food and water. So the source, where they come from, the nutrition qi and defensive qi are exactly the same. They come from middle jiao, from the food, from the water. The one they traveled in the vessels, we call them nutrition qi. The one travels outside the vessels, we call them defensive qi. But sometimes you will ask, what travels outside the vessels? Outside the vessels, where is outside the vessels? The distribution of wei qi. Where exactly the area is outside the vessel? It actually refers to over the body. Outside the vessels means outside the vessels and over the body. So we separate them. Once the qi, once in the vessels, once outside the vessel. Outside the vessel actually refers to outside the vessel over the body. And so where they come from, also from middle jiao. In Huangdi Neijing, it also describes the flow of wei qi. flow of Wei Qi, this flow we're going to discuss in the Meridian, because these theories is the one we're going to use in our acupuncture treatments. The reason why we not in a normal acupuncture treatment we keep the needles in for 30 minutes. The reason is because of the Wei Qi, the flow over the body from one meridian to the other meridian. It runs about 50 times or circles in one day. So each circle, each circulation take about 28 minutes. That's why we keep for one full circle of the qi flow during our treatment. So these we're going to discuss in our meridian theories. And the yin qi, that's the essential qi of blood that's from the food of drink, enters the vessels, hence it flows in the vessel upwards and downwards, pass through the zang fu, viscera, and connect to 6 organs. The defensive qi, that's intrepid and energetic qi of water and grain, this qi is fast and unstrength, it cannot enter the vessels, hence it moves inside the skin and in the division of the flesh, spreads in the chest and abdomen. So from the description from 黄帝内经 of nutrition qi and defensive qi, you will have a full understanding what's the function or what's the characteristic. The defensive qi move fast. The nutrition qi flows in the vessel and nourish the organs, zang organs, fu organs. The functions of Wei Qi, of the defensive Qi. The first is defends the body surface against any invasion by exogenous pathogenic factors. So external factors, pathogen factors, how we keep healthy, how to keep our body healthy from defensive Qi. So if someone they got colds, they got flu easily, then we call the Wei Qi, the defensive Qi is weak, because that's the function of defensive Qi to protect, to prevent diseases, to defend the body surface against any invasions. Some pathogen, virus, bacteria, any kinds of invasion go to the body. Then that's the defensive Qi didn't function well. Also, the defensive Qi can warm, strengthen the body. Strengthen the body includes the organs, muscles, skin, and hair. It also can control the opening and closing of the sweat pores to maintain a normal body temperature. So if someone is sweat too much, or in some condition, patient got fever, and they got very dry skin, they have very high body temperature. What happens there is, it says it's imbalance of the defensive and nutrition Qi. That's because the Wei Qi, the defensive Qi, have the function to control the opening and closing of the sweat pores. So if that's also why it's very important to regulate defensive Qi and nutrition Qi in the treatment of some diseases with fever. So then we need to think about what's the relationship between yin qi nutrition qi, and the relation or the difference between defensive qi. Nutrition qi, yin qi, we also call it yin yin because this qi compared with defensive qi. Once flows in the vessel, in is yin, outside is yang. Also, it flows faster, also yang. So compare with nutrition qi, yin. Compare with defensive qi, nutrition qi is yin. That's why we said yin yin. Defensive qi is yang. That's why we call it wei yang. But here you don't confuse. You see, that's why we introduced our yin-yang theories at the beginning. When we study more and more, we're actually integrating more theories in here. Previously, just a few minutes ago, I told you that nutrition qi is yang because it needs to move the blood. Nutrition qi is a part of the blood and in charge of the movement, the flow of the blood. So the nutrition qi moves the liquid blood, the blood in liquid form. So when you compare with nutrition qi and the blood, nutrition qi, blood consists of nutrition qi and the liquid blood. Compared with these two, nutrition qi, which is yin qi, is yang because it moves the blood. But then, when we compare with nutrition qi and the defensive qi, we gave it another word, yin and yang. We said nutrition qi is yin, defensive qi is yang. So here we said, a few seconds ago, we said defensive qi, nutrition qi is yang. Now we said defensive qi, nutrition qi. So a few seconds ago, we said nutrition qi is yang. Now we said nutrition qi is yin. So don't confuse here. The reason why they changed the nature of nutrition qi is because the objects we compared to had changed. Same as in the philosophy when we discussed at the beginning, we said that an adult, a young adult, a young male, compared with a teenager's male, compared with an adult, the teenager's, the boy is yin, the gentleman is yang. If compared with girls, the boy is yang. So the boy can be yang, also can be yin, depends on whom you compare to. Same as here. If the nutrition qi compared with blood is yang, nutrition qi compared with defensive qi is yin. So the differences or the relationship between each other, nutrition qi and defensive qi, both of them come from nutrition essence of food and water. So that's from the middle jiao, something we eat. Distribution. One floats in the vessel, one floats outside the vessel. One is more smooth, one travels very fast. So the defensive qi, you also can use the description in the previous slides from Huangdi Neijing to see the characteristics of defensive qi. The function of nutrition qi transforms into blood, nourishes the blood, the whole body. The function of defensive qi warms and strengthens the whole body, protect the body against the pathogenic factors and control the sweat pulse, regulate sweating, maintain body temperature. So these are the relationship between these two, nutrition qi and defensive qi. They're very similar, but they're also different. One's yin, one's yang. So if in the test I ask you, compare with defensive qi and nutrition qi, which one's yin, which one's yang? Or yin, there's a gap, is you need to write down nutrition qi. Okay. So we'll stop here today, and you can see my email just here. So the phone doesn't work because we also off campus, or everyone's off campus now. So that's why we use online lecturing. If any questions, any confusion, or if you have any good ideas, good suggestions, just drop me an email. Then we will see what we can do to improve our study. Okay, in the next video, we're going to discuss the blood. Thank you guys. See you next time and keep safe.